Premier Doug Ford and his government are on the defensive tonight after Ontario's Auditor General released an explosive report this morning on the government's handling of some major issues. Among them, the controversial plan to rebuild Ontario Place. Al Sweeney has the story.
In her Auditor General's report, Shelley Spence listed a series of issues with the government's plans to redevelop Ontario Place. She says decisions about Ontario Place were not fair, transparent, or accountable. The rules and guidelines were not followed. And even though contact with government officials was prohibited by would-be developers during the process, some officials were invited to meet with government officials and high-ranking political staff. And the project's cost has jumped from less than $1 billion.
We found in our audit of the Ontario Place redevelopment that the estimated total cost to the province is now $2.2 billion, including the Science Centre.
And putting up with our gang right here, too.
The Premier was in the legislature today, but left the response to cabinet ministers and the head of the Infrastructure Ontario agency.
What we've learned through this process is those interactions on behalf of IO employees with participants were on matters logistical and procedural and related to the responsibilities of parties. They did not bear in any way upon the evaluation of the proposals that came in.
Everything about this deal was rigged and mismanaged.
The opposition says the auditor's report shows the government is off the rails.
It's a government that just rams through whatever they want. They just do whatever they want. With no consideration for the rules.
The Auditor General also blasted the government over other issues, like its decision to close safe drug consumption sites in cities like Hamilton. The Auditor General says the sites have saved lives, and the government has been told people could die without them.
We do know that they do work, and they had prevented 1,500 overdoses.
The government says its plan for new treatment facilities will be better.
We are seeing rising rates, and we are doing something that we believe will ultimately make a difference to the people of Ontario.
What if we told you there's a place where it's all happening?
The Auditor General also said that at $103 million, the Ford government spent 3 times more on advertising than the year before. And some of the ads wouldn't pass previous rules against partisan advertising.
They are ad campaigns where, in our assessment, the primary objective of the ad is to foster a positive impression of the governing party.
The opposition says all of these things go back to the Premier.
Doug Ford's at the center of this. All roads lead to his office.
But the government is pressing ahead.
I take what the Auditor General has suggested. I think we moved pretty quickly, even in advance of this report. Frankly, I think a vast majority of the recommendations we've already implemented.
Al Sweeney, CHCH News.